All right, here we go. August 12th.
Marketing gold medals for crowd targeting the right message to the right clientele. Googling ranking to stand out from the crowd. Original program, get to know your right customer. All won by the one and only John Limbacher.
Feel like I'm going into a prize fight or something here. Well, awesome. We got some cool stuff today. We got three things to look at, three examples to look at, and chew up and spit out if you will. When you guys send the stuff in though to look at, it can always be better. So like when I'm like chewing through it, don't feel like you did a bad job. You guys did a phenomenal job just getting it up to the point where we can look at it. So don't ever feel bad. Like, when I'm giving you stuff, it doesn't mean that it's not good. And it doesn't mean that you can't use it as is. I'm just trying to like sharpen your sword, because that's, the sharper your sword is when you go onto the battlefield, the better you can do, right? So anyway, does anybody have anything you want to start up with? Or
yeah, John, I had sent you my new title for my program. Did you see that link?
Yep, I got
Sure.
You are one of the three that I was mentioning there.
Okay, good.
So we'll pull that up. We got yours, we got Ron's, and we got another one. Kaya. It's Kaya.
I just wanted to share at some point just a huge epiphany I had about something I want to do. So that's all.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me see here. Let's start up with Dwayne. Let me save this image. Okay, open that up. Now I can share my screen. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. Any background info you want to throw out on this, or you want to just go into it?
Sure. So what I'm doing is I'm launching a membership group, a very simple one. As you said last week, I am the content. I'll do a weekly call with people, and I'll give them some things here and there, so mainly it's me answering questions that are emailed in advance. And I'm not giving legal advice, but more how to overcome your stress, be more effective, be more persuasive, how to navigate the legal system, persuade judges, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, what you just said, persuade judges, that is incredibly powerful. I don't know if you can use that, but if you can, I would. So what we have here in your title, and this is what you're calling your big idea, right?
Yeah, medium big. Okay. It might get bigger.
Okay, gotcha. So, and this is for everybody, guys. The big idea, this is your attention grabber on the front end of things. And I know I've covered this many, many times, but I just want to keep on hitting it because it's so important. Big idea consists of a promise. You have to make a promise of what your prospect wants. So that's key. That is number one. That's the thing that is going to seduce their heart. In marketing, we talk about seducing their heart, convincing their head. And those two have to walk hand in hand down the road for this to all work. So the seduction of the heart starts with a promise. That's why the big idea concept, it revolves around the biggest promise you could possibly make to your prospects. Next is, remember I said seduce the heart, convince the head. You have to immediately now throw something in that is going to convince the head that this isn't all just bullshit. This can really work. And that's what we call the unique mechanism. That's the thing that you have that's unique, that's going to do the work to deliver this result. So those two things, those are like the biggest pieces. And the third part of it is just saying it in a way they've never heard it before. So what we're looking at here, I'm looking at, promise here is from stress to calm. transformational legal coaching, that's the thing that's going to do it. So as a big idea, that's not really very strong. I mean,
Mhm.
what I try and do, like with the promise, I think the promise is key. The promise is like job one, to figure out what is it that they want, or what is it that they think they want. And this is a conversation that's going on in their head. And remember, I said that thing you just said was really powerful: persuade judges. Somebody that's got a legal issue, they want this thing to sway their way. I don't think they're laying in bed at night thinking, man, I'm so stressed. If I could only be calm, my problems would go away. I don't think they're thinking that. They're thinking, if I could figure out how to like persuade this judge to lean my way, that would remove my stress. That would make me calm. That would make me confident walking into that courtroom. So you are the one that's going to deliver that result. But that is your promise. The promise isn't, it's not legal coaching. That's kind of more the unique mechanism. Transformative. I don't know that that's really a good word for this particular application, because in legal, like, you got people that are, they're preparing to go to war. They're going to go into a courtroom that's a single decision is going to change their life. So they're looking. I don't really think transformation is what they're thinking, what they're looking for. I don't know that that's the right word. They're looking for protection. They're thinking like survival. Transformation is like, that's in a dream state. That's like when they're looking for, their ideal life. They're just looking to survive this thing. They're looking to come out of this thing, clean. So I don't know that you have the right words. Honestly, I think, I know you're trying to do this thing on a down low holistic approach, and that's fine. The holistic approach, that's the piece I think that you've got right. So remember, you got the promise, you got the unique mechanism to deliver it, and then you have the unique way of saying it. The holistic part, that's your unique way of saying it. That's the thing they haven't heard before. That's the thing that might get them to lean in and say, oh, really? And so I think you got a little bit of work to do on figuring out how they really feel about, what's going on around them.
Yeah. What would I say, like for the promise, could I just say how to persuade a judge?
Yeah. I mean, that's really powerful.
It is. That's the ultimate. That is the that's
because
the end point. Yeah,
and
that's the big day.
Yeah. And your unique thing is, you're a holistic legal coach that knows how to do that. You know how to do that. So I think that is definitely much more in line with what somebody is going to see and make their heart fall in love with it.
Hey, John, can I chime in on something here?
Sure.
Because I've had plenty of legal issues. My clients have legal issues.
Yeah.
And the most anxiety is, how do I find a lawyer? Who do I find? How much is this going to cost me? And a lot of times you wind up doing nothing. And that's why I told my son to become a lawyer. I don't have to worry about it. But truthfully, as a businessman, the last thing I want to do is go hunting for a lawyer. So are you going to relieve that burden?
Yeah, that's one thing I do quite a bit. That's a really good question, Joe. And that's why I was thinking of having a more generic thing, but I found attorneys for many, many clients over the years. I'm a general practitioner. And for my client that I've had for 8 years, I've probably brought in a dozen lawyers for her for specific
so
areas of
if
the
you
law.
could coach me on how to find the right lawyer, I would definitely, at least look at it. That's something that I never saw.
And
the problem with that, the problem with that is it doesn't even work. Even though I've done this for 25 years, I interview the attorneys. I don't yet know their competence until I see them in action, and I don't personally know that many lawyers. So I can go to the right area of law. I can interview a few. Usually it works out, but as a promise that I can fulfill, to me, it's more of a category, subcategory of what I do. I can't really put that out as my main
Okay.
thing.
But you know,
Now,
the
within
last,
how to persuade a judge, you need to have a good lawyer to help you. So I could have that as a subcategory.
that was my next question. I don't want to talk to a judge. That's the last thing I want to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to have the right mouthpiece persuading the judge.
This brings up something really interesting that I hadn't even thought of until you just brought this up, Joe. I'm not sure we're even focused on the right avatar. Are we selling this to a person that wants to go on the stand and be able to testify on their own behalf?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. In any court case, eventually it comes down to testimony, and depositions are, the statistics are that 90% of cases are won or lost in deposition.
Okay, so I don't even think the end person is your avatar, because it's like Joe said, if I hire an attorney to represent me, I am putting everything in his hands. I am not out looking or even thinking that I need outside help or counsel. I'm leaving it up to that attorney. I think the attorney is your customer. I think you sell this to the attorney to then tell his client, hey, you need to do this. If I'm going to put you on the stand, this is a requirement, because I don't want you making me look like a buffoon.
You're looking for people that are in deep doo-doo already. I'm talking about like people facing eviction and just simple business cases.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to go on the stand, that's like.
Well, that's what he's talking. That's what this is, Joe. This is like prepping. This is like prepping somebody to go on the stand and testify on their own behalf.
That would be huge for me.
Yeah,
I've had to do that.
And I could totally see how this person would buy this thing in an instant if they knew about it. But what I'm thinking, this person is going to put their trust in their attorney, and they're not going to look any further for this. If you have to get the attorney to sell this, you have to sell this on the attorney, which is going to cause a distinct change in the angle of the front end of it, because you're appealing to the attorney. The attorney wants to win cases. The attorney doesn't want to look like an idiot when he puts his client on the stand. The attorney wants this thing to go smooth. That's going to be the promise to him. And I don't know, maybe I'm completely off base here, but I think that is kind of the logical approach to this. I think this is going to be really hard to even find prospects that are looking for something like this if they've already hired an attorney and they've just turned it over to them. And I think that's what most people would have done.
I agree with you, John. And, you could call it, when you pitch to the attorneys, you can call it cross-examination coaching for your clients, because the attorney, unless it's a family friend, they don't have time to coach you into cross-examination, or you're going to spend their $400 or $600 or $800 an hour fees for cross-examination coaching. I mean, and I know this personally because we had a family situation, and my mom, we dropped $1 million lawsuit because my mom could not handle the cross-examination when we practiced with our family lawyer. So this is, John, I feel like and it's easier to find attorneys, and if you do like John does, and make it a service. John, how do you do the thing where, we pay you, but then, like we're the front and you're the real service?
Well, he could do this like on a retainer fee. Like his client might be an attorney, and he's going to eliminate the whole stress on that attorney of training these witnesses. And he could just say, you know, for X amount, hey, I'll cover this number of them a month, whether you have them or not, you still pay the fee. I think, you know, to me, and again, I don't know if I'm completely off base here because I'm not real in tune with the industry.
Plus, I know that from my advertising days, you have to be really careful about saying persuading judges. You almost have to say legally influence or without fear, no bribes. Like it has to be so clean because that will they'll shut you down because of verbiage around the legal field.
Yeah.
That I know. When I was in advertising, we represented law offices and the language was so strict. So I don't know about saying it straight up like that. That's ideal, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna. I think you're gonna hit into some problems with that. Even with lawyers, like they're gonna know. I don't know. That was a red light for me because we had many lawyer agencies. We represented and did PR for agents, legal firms that represented dirt, man. They just were awful firms. But anyway, I digress.
All right, well, let's move on. So Dwayne, that's, you know, I think you got some good feedback there. Definitely some things to think about as far as like who your avatar really is and figuring out what's going to be most important to them. And this is for everybody. This is a process that a lot of times you don't see it. You're too involved to really even know who you're selling to, you know, or who your client really is or could be. Like in this case, I would rather have one attorney that fed me, you know, 4 clients a month, or, you know, that's probably too fast, you know, maybe one client that feeds you 4 per year or whatever, and have 10 of those guys and just keep your practice humming along. And, you know, so just something to think about.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Take the stand for.
Yeah, I have run into that. There are deposition training programs out there, like for a few $100s a video program. And I've looked at those and it's all sort of practical mainstream stuff. Nobody really goes into the how to prepare a week in advance, getting sleep, controlling your energy. What do you eat on the day so you're not mind dead in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Exercise, breath work, meditation, so your mind is working optimally. Nobody is doing that piece.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like you've got something there. You just kind of need to figure out who it's for, who it's going to be most important to, who's going to pay you, and how you can get repeat business out of that. I think the attorneys are probably going to be your target, not the end person. Because remember, they're putting their trust in that attorney, and they're going to do whatever that attorney says.
If the attorney could hire you, they're just going to put your fee as another item on their bill. I mean, they charge people for photocopies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and also I'll do it. Like I've been paid like $5,000 to $10,000 to train clients when I do one-on-one, really difficult ones who need a lot of preparation. So I can offer this for several hundred, and it's much cheaper than they could do on their own, and better. It's something that they can't do. So yeah, that's a possibility.
All right. Well, cool. Let's move on. We got Mr. Ron on here today. Spectacular movie star and taking it to the web here. So I'm going to share his landing page. We kind of hit his video here a week or two ago, and now he's got it up on the landing page. Got some copy for us to look at. So trust us with your scar. We get more of what your skin needs from ingredients you trust. Okay, so here you're making the assumption that they trust your ingredients, which they don't really even know what they are yet. So that's kind of problematic right there. And down here where you've got ingredients, let's see, where was it? I saw this. Something about natural ingredients.
Organics in the top right here.
Okay, organic. So what I might do is change this to organic ingredients you can trust.
Okay.
That would be, I think that would be a lot stronger. You're not making a statement. You have to be careful when you make statements. The person on the other end can either accept or deny. If they deny, it's game over. So you don't want to throw stuff out that they say, well, no, no.
Thanks.
So
Perfect. Thanks, John.
So when you say, you know, organic or natural ingredients you can trust, that's like, oh, okay, I can trust this. You're kind of subtly telling them you can trust this. So I would kind of take that angle on it. This is a great screenshot for the video too. What I might do is I might put some text here. You just put some text here with maybe a call to action, like find out how, and then whatever.
Okay.
And
Who is your market? I had an organic body care company, so I'm curious.
it's mostly people with scars, people that have scar damage. They've tried everything else, which that doesn't.
Men or women or both?
Both.
I think it's either, yeah.
Body, face, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, everything from C-section, breast scars, facial scars, surgery scars, accidents, all sorts of stuff.
And then here, where you've got the testimonial thing,
Yeah.
I would put Marcus J says, I have tried everything. KPS is God in a jar.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
And it's probably a little too soon to go into order now.
Okay.
It's like you're assuming already that they're ready to buy this, and they probably aren't because they're first seeing it.
Yeah, good point.
Your primary goal is not to sell, believe it or not.
Right.
Your primary
I completely
goal,
understand.
yeah.
Should I just keep the ones down below or keep the one down below and
It's a good idea to have order buttons in case somebody's ready to go. But your primary goal of the landing page is to create a lead. It's just like in the real world. Like a salesman, the first thing they want to do is they want to create a lead, then they set an appointment, then they do a presentation, and then they close.
Okay.
So you want to try and follow that process, because what works in the real world works online too. And a salesperson doesn't just, throw out their front end tagline and say, "Oh, you ready to buy now?"
Right. So on this, would you what would I offer them to give me an email?
You might actually offer for them to watch this video.
Or a list of ingredients that you use. That's what I would be more interested in.
Yeah, but really the thing, instead of the list of ingredients, that could be revealed during the video. But you're really kind of getting them to opt in and say, yeah, I want this. I want more information about this. I want to know how this works. And that's where the big idea comes in. So, you've got a lot of really good components for a big idea, especially like for your unique mechanism. I mean, you've got aerospace technology that delivers the result. That's pretty strong, but I don't see it here. I don't see it above the fold. The promise, I don't see the promise either. I see trust us with your scar. You haven't given me any reason to trust you yet.
Okay.
You're making a big ask without any deliverables. So
yeah, I'm cautious with claims.
I get it.
Even though I can get rid of any scar coming your way, saying that will get me in trouble. So
gotcha. Yeah, no.
What about tattoos?
I get that.
Well, won't get rid of tattoos.
Well, we don't know that. We haven't tried to get rid of any
shouldn't get
tattoos,
rid of
but it should
tattoos.
not. Like, are you talking about
What about
a
tattoo scarring?
scar that was removed? Or are you talking an actual tattoo?
An actual tattoo.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's noisy here.
So on can you say amazing results?
Yes.
That's
Can you
good.
say amazing results on what am I trying to say? Hard to get rid of scars, or, you know,
I can say
scars.
stuff like that.
Yes,
Hey,
long-term
Ron,
scars. Or,
I have plenty of scars, and I don't want to trust you with my scar. I want to trust that you're going to remove my scar. I'm just saying, I'm like, what does that mean? Trust us with your scar. I would, if you're, so I like what John is saying about the promise. If you promised me that I could trust you to remove my scar, that's what would spur me.
so the word I was looking for was stubborn.
Oh,
Okay.
Amazing results with stubborn scarring.
I like it. Okay.
So that's a promise.
I like it.
Amazing results for stubborn scarring. It's not a claim, it's a promise for something that they want. They want amazing results for their stubborn scar.
Yeah.
Right.
And amazing results is something that a court would have a hard time trying to quantify.
Exactly. So that's the game we're playing here. We're playing a game of dancing on a line of claims without making claims to exactly what they want, which we know what it is. And then how are we going to deliver that? We're going to use aerospace technology to deliver that.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Perfect.
that's kind of your key pieces for your big idea. And then just wording that with as few words as humanly possible to get that across. And then watch the video to find out how.
Got it.
And they opt in to watch the video. Now you got them, you got their email address, so you can follow up with them even if they don't finish watching the video. And now you've got them in the mousetrap.
Got it.
So
So
I liked a lot of the rest of the stuff down here. You got a lot of good stuff going on all the way down through here, but we want to capture them in. Like, that's a stubborn scar, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
She's had that forever. That's stubborn. You can go on and on and on about that. This is amazing results.
Yeah.
Didn't
Hey, John,
he?
could I offer a quick point?
Sure.
Please.
Ron, you had me until I saw this very first example. The first one looks like it's taken in normal camera mode, and the second one looks like it's beauty moded, which electronically diminishes the scar. Because there's so much smoothing of that, and the lighting tonal quality is so different, I personally immediately discounted that photo as authentic.
See, that was
Or as an
one of
authentic
the,
represent.
I completely understand, and maybe I'll take that one out. But the reason that is the way it is that was our second scar, actually. And the guy just took a picture of it. And that's what I had.
Yeah.
But that may be a good point just to
That's
get
an
that out of there.
excellent point. I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up, because we don't want to lose them
Yeah.
right away. And because this is legit, we do not doctor up photos, but we obviously don't want them thinking that.
Yeah.
I would, the woman is phenomenal. Results like without, that's a great one. I would stick that up higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also, like, in this case here, when you're trying to make this point without surgery, I love that thing you said that, a cut caused this problem. Surgery is going to just give you another cut. I love that, the way you had phrased that. That is, you have so much strong stuff. It's just a matter of piecing it together, getting it all in the right mode, and I think
leading down that path, right?
Yeah, I think you'll kill it. You've got all the components.
Hey, John.
So quick question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Randy.
No, that's okay. Real quick, because I got to go to another meeting, and I agree with all this wonderful feedback you're getting, Ron, and to Ron's wife. I don't know her name, but the first thing I saw if you go all the way back up to the beginning, the first thing that jumped out at me that was a turnoff for me before we started getting all that great feedback was the response or the testimonial with God's name in it. And I know you're trying to attract a wide audience.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not highly religious, blah, blah, blah. I'm not out of the box or anything like that. But for me, to have a, and I know it came from someone else and it's their testimonial, but I would question whether or not that's proper to use it in this context, because it could be a turnoff for an awful lot of people that you don't even know. And you're trying to appeal to a wide audience. If you are narrowing the scope to a specific group, then that might be okay. But I think you got to really watch it when you're going, you know, wide out there. And you don't know how many people might be offended by that or take exception to that, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just throwing that out there real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd considered that. It is his quote, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, now I would probably tend to agree with that one too, because that it's an outrageous claim, God in a jar, right? And what you're doing
to get God in a jar, but
yeah, I mean, we'd all love that, but it brings up that little voice in the back of your mind that says bullshit.
Well, that and people, some people are very sensitive. You know, you have to look at the entire scale of things. Some people are very sensitive when you go that route. You know, so you just I don't know. It got my attention, and it was like, I don't know if I'd put that in there. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
God bless you guys. I gotta go.
And you do have that quote below on that person's picture, so you don't really need it in both places. And that's fine, because then it puts it with that person, and that was his thing, and you're putting it with his picture. But I agree, maybe not on the front page.
Yeah, mix it in. Don't get rid of it. Just mix it in with the rest of them.
Okay.
Or you can have an atheist saying, I don't believe in God and it works anyway.
The other thing here, you've got share this video with your family and friends.
Oh, sorry.
Which is it's a good call to action, but it's detracting. Like when somebody lands on a landing page, you really want to get them to do one thing and focus all your effort on getting them to do that one thing. Like with this, we want them to watch the video. Everything should be geared toward watching the video. Once they start watching the video and you have given them huge value, that's when you do the second call to action. Like, hey, if this is valuable to you, I'd love to if you share this with your friends. And then you got to tell them how to do it. And that's where
I got to first figure out how to make it work, because that doesn't do anything right now.
Oh, I can show you how to do that. You can do it in Kartra, super easy.
Cool. Actually, if there's whatever you need to like get me into the next stage of this, because there's a few, like, I want to make sure that my tags are correct for Google, for my pixels correct for Facebook, all the stuff that I've always had somebody else do for me, that now I'm doing for myself. So if I could get some of your time, whatever you need, let me know.
Sure.
In the next, maybe within the next week, that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, because this little share button here, a lot of people don't know what that is. So in the video, you just real quickly demonstrate. You just say, click this button, show them how it works, boom. And it's amazing. People will actually do what they're told. Yes. They want to be told what to do and how to do it.
I agree with that 100%. Just help me.
Yeah, just help them.
Lead them down the path. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have one question on the order now button on this first part. Are you suggesting we remove it from that slide specifically, or just change it to the email?
We're going to try and make that
instead of
we're going to make it so they click the video.
Yeah, watch the video.
Okay.
Find out how.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to make sure I was clear.
It's like a find out how.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we're teasing them. The whole idea here is to tease them into wanting more. That's where we capture their information. That's where we deliver on the promise. And you start this credibility path with them. It's like you're building trust and rapport. You've offered them something, they've accepted, you've given them more value than they ask for. You always over deliver. And now it's just like in the real world. That's job number one of a salesperson, is to create trust and rapport before they ask for an order. So if they ask for an order, you haven't built that trust. They don't, they've got all these little warning things going off in their mind, because even though you've seduced their heart with the promise, they want that scar gone. There's no doubt. They want it gone, but believability, you haven't convinced their head yet.
Right.
So that's where the trust, the rapport, the delivering, over delivering, you're keeping your promise every step of the way in the marketing funnel, over delivering. And then when you get to the point where it's now time to order, they're going to go, yes.
Yes.
So it's the big mistake a lot of people do is they just skip right to the order. It's like, here's the thing. I know it's great. You should know it's great. Just order it. It never works that way.
Right. No, perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Let's see here. What do we got next? We got Mr. Joe. Are you ready? Mr. Joe.
I'm always ready.
All right.
Greg taught me that.
So Joe wants just a review of his website. So that's what we're going to do. We're kind of going to go through here. So the first thing I noticed here was you've kind of split your big idea into two pieces here.
Yeah, watch this. This is good.
So you got build your business on a firm foundation. And I don't know that people are thinking, are they laying in bed at night thinking, I wish I could build my business on a firm foundation? It's not quite specific enough.
Which is why I asked you to review this.
No, perfect. That's where we're going. So again, and I cannot stress this enough. Everybody, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your business is, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to the same thing. You should lead off with a big idea. And if you guys are not familiar with that, if maybe you're new to the process and all that, you should familiarize yourself with that. If you go into the ACT program and go through the big idea training part, it will really, really help you. The big idea it's on the front end of any marketing campaign. If you look at ad agencies, this is the very first thing they do. And it's because it's the tool they use to grab attention. When you're in a market and you're doing marketing, that's the first thing. That's the first job, is to grab someone's attention. If you can't grab their attention, you're not going to get them into your marketing message. If you can't get them into that, you're not going to be able to do a presentation. If you can't do a presentation, you're never going to create the demand and desire for what you're offering. You don't get the chance to eliminate objections as they come up, and you don't get to make your offer. So the big idea, it's the first thing. It's the thing that snaps their head. It grabs their attention. It's like, rubbernecking. When you're going down the freeway, everything looks the same, right? But then you see an ambulance at the side of the road. That's a big idea. It's going to turn your head. What's going on over there? It grabs their attention. If you don't have that, people will just be focused on the road ahead and they don't care about you and they'll never even look at you. So you've got to figure out, how do you get them to rubberneck? How do you snap them out of what they're doing? And it's got to be good. David Ogilvy was kind of the king of this back in the 1950s in advertising. And he was interviewed. He said, how is it that everything you touch turns to gold? And he equated it to the big idea. He said, any marketing campaign, and I don't think they called them marketing campaigns back then. I think they called them ad campaigns. He said, any ad campaign without a big idea is going to pass like a ship in the night, meaning it's not going to be seen. That's what he equated his success to. He was, possibly one of the most successful ad men back in the 50s when it was booming. The whole industry was being created and popularized and commercialized. And that's what set him apart, was his ability to take something that was common, turn it into a big idea where it was compelling and it grabbed people's attention. And it always comes down to, if you look at any of those, you can look at any ad campaign back throughout history and you'll see those three key components. They always make a promise. They always have a unique mechanism that delivers on the promise. And they always say it in a way you haven't heard it before. That's the components. So Now, this is a website. Granted, this is a website. This is not a landing page. So the big idea here is going to be a little different. This is going to be the big idea more generically. So you have to kind of get to the bottom of what you offer are the things that are all going to deliver on this. And in Joe's case, he's got a lot of different pieces to this that he does.
So John, can I just say, you know, because I followed the ACT program, I did a lot of research. I think I know what people want.
Okay. What is it?
They don't even want to think about what I do.
Exactly.
So, you know, when we did that pyramid of knowledge, it's like, oh my God, I got to educate these people. So when I looked at this, and I'm not taking credit for this because my team put the whole website together, but I'm like, build your business on a firm foundation doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. I'm like, people just, they procrastinate. They don't want to think about bookkeeping, the IRS. They'll put it off as long as possible. So I've been going like through hundreds of different big ideas. So
I would think that instead of build your business on a firm foundation, they would want to eliminate all the frustration out of their business.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm looking for.
I think that would be more on target. And then you list the frustrations. You say, are taxes a frustration for you? You know, is legal compliance a frustration for you? That's what we do. We eliminate all of your business frustrations.
I like the word burden, you know, because it's frustrating, but it's also a heavy task that nobody wants to do except for
So wait, what are you saying, Allie? Breaking up. You said burden? Burden.
I'm saying, Joe, a burden. It's not only frustrating, it's scary, and it's a burden, and it's a PIA in my ass. So, and I'm saying, listen, everybody rather not deal with us and all the, you know, so if you know, matter like with like you know, that you know that you can eliminate that whole boulder.
Listen, my corporate return is due August 15th. I wish I had somebody that would do it for me. I'm already on. I don't even like get I gave my accounting to one of my team members. I'm like, holy crow, it's the end of the month again. I got to give them my statements.
Right.
Hey, Joe, can I give you an impression?
I'm sorry, Roger.
Yeah, can I give you an impression of, this is your main page that people go to, right?
Yeah.
It's called Bedrock Business Builders. From the website above the fold that I've seen, including a little bit of the scroll down that John has done, I'm not understanding what it is you do. I don't know if you're a generic business coach, but there's the word legal and there's the word financial. But the one impression I do have is that your target market is Fortune 500, because only they typically have these tall skyscraper style buildings. And so I'm not sure what you do, but it sounds to me like you're a large business coach, at least medium business, a generic coach.
Yeah, that's a good point. Imagery is really important because you know, like Roger picked that up. He picked that up solely off that image, Joe.
So I should have like a small business owner, like struggling, you know, working their business, right?
Yeah, because the first thing you got to do is you got to kind of put together, okay, what is it that you want to sell? And everybody needs to be careful with this one because you guys all have a lot of stuff that you could sell, but there's some that you shouldn't. Because, you know, if you look at the whole 80-20 rule, you look at, you know, 80% of your work probably brings 20% of your revenue. And I want you to start thinking about switching that. Start switching, you know, to the other way around. You know, I want 80% of my business that brings the majority of my money, not 20% of it. You know, you want it the other way around. You want to start eliminating stuff that you don't want to do, or find affiliates to push it out to and just take a little bit of commission off it. But what I wanted to get to next was down here. This isn't the second piece of this up here. It's kind of broken and split. These two should be together, because you say we change all of that with our time-tested, customizable Bedrock CFO packages starting at just $47. Now you've said a whole bunch of stuff here that I have no idea what the hell it is. I don't know what a CFO package is. I don't even really know what you're offering. So what you want to say up here is potentially eliminate all of your business frustrations starting at just $47 a month.
Oh, wow.
You know, now I know this is for me. This is not a big corporation. I'm not going to have to spend a gazillion dollars. I can eliminate all my business frustrations here for starting at $47 a month. And then I might have 3 boxes saying, you know, eliminate your tax problems, eliminate your accounting problems, eliminate, you know, your licensing and business, you know, all that other crap, all of your paperwork, all the garbage you don't care about, you don't want to deal with.
That should all be above the fold, right?
That should all be above the fold. Now down here, I see you've got the 3 boxes. So you got that part right. But again, you're kind of segmenting here. Yes, I want my own business. I'm a brand new business owner. It's time to get my business on track. So
I'm not solving a problem.
Yeah, you're kind of off the mark here. You might have at some point in here, you might have the problems that they're running into. Like a problem over here was I want a business, but I don't even know how to get started in the business. Can you tell me what I'm up against? You know, or for a new business owner, say, you know, if you're a new business owner, there's some stuff that you could be in a whole heap of trouble if you don't know right now. You know, this is stuff you want to know now, not a year from now, that can make a major difference in whether you stay in business or not,
Where do I put that, in the box?
That could be in those 3 boxes.
Okay, bullet points.
Yeah. And then the next one is, you know, now that you've made money, let me show you how to keep it.
Okay.
But you got to get focused on, you know, the stuff you really want to offer. What's that look like? And, you know, I love the idea that this starts at $47 a month, eliminating all your business frustrations. That's strong. You know,
Yeah.
for a small business owner, you know, and a lot of this stuff, it's like you've already discovered this stuff is not top of mind for them. This stuff is like way down on the pyramid where it's completely unknown. So you've got to bring it to their attention that they could have some problems here. Now, when somebody comes to you, they might be coming to you for CPA services. They might be coming to you for tax preparation. They might be coming to you, you know, because they want to get incorporated. Your incorporation angle is brilliant. You know, that is one of the key components that could potentially land you clients and grab people's attention. Is sole proprietors are getting attacked by the IRS. I can.
Oh yeah, you helped me with that. Remember the vicious dogs?
Yeah. The IRS is attacking sole proprietors. You know, I have a solution for you. You know, let me get your corporation set up. It will stop that.
You know what happened with the vicious dogs, John? It's scared. No, because I had them on my homepage. You know that.
Yeah.
And it scared the crap out of everyone, including my girlfriend and my mother.
Yeah, we went a little too far.
They clicked off.
We just went a little too far.
Okay. So scare, but not like.
Right.
Really.
That's when you use an illustration, not a real video of dogs shredding someone.
You know, it's like the imagery. You know, imagery is everything. You could have had somebody like looking through a peephole, seeing an IRS agent holding a tablet out sitting in front of their door.
There you go.
You know, something
Right, but
like
that,
that.
John, that's
That's-
hard to, you know, that I guess you could do with an illustration as well, as long as,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of
Yeah, you
exaggerate.
know,
I'm from the
John,
IRS.
John and
ahead.
Joe, Joe, be sure to save the chat. There's lots of good suggestions there.
Okay, yeah, I always save those.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like if you guys are listening in on this stuff, if there's stuff you want to put in there for Joe or or for Ron or Dwayne, anything, you can put it in the chat there, and then they'll have access to all of that stuff.
All right. Listen,
Let me-
John, I got a lot of stuff. If you want to move on to somebody else, that's fine.
No, it's okay. Let me just go on down the page here while we're at it. Here's something I would never do. Never, ever, ever in a million years would I want to send somebody off of your page to Facebook. That, in my opinion, is an absolute kiss of death. Here's
So what are you saying? I should take it off?
yes. If you want to have a Facebook group, that's okay. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Although I do. I'll talk about that in a minute. But if you wanted to do that, you're dead set against or dead set on having a Facebook group. What you want to do is you want to get them to opt in to be a part of it. So here you want to tell them why they want to be in the Facebook group, not just that you have one and go join it. Tell them what they're going to get out of it. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Get them to opt into Kartra, and then your Kartra success page gives them the link to go join the Facebook group. Now you've got them in your Kartra database. Now you can communicate with them effectively. Here's my problem with Facebook groups. You think you control the group, but you do not control the conversation. You could have guys in there that are giving contrary information to what you're giving, and it can really destroy your credibility. Like I have this SEO software, SitePop, and we've got thousands of SEO guys using that. About 90% of them have no idea what they're doing. They know nothing about SEO, and they're all sharing information with anyone that'll listen. They're looking for a soapbox. Do you think for a second that I want to put all those guys in a room and have them talk about my software? Hell no. It ain't going to happen.
So we're trying to not get out of Facebook, but to segue into, we're spending a lot of time on Be Connected.
Yeah.
And
So,
using that and the live hives. What about,
any platform, whether it's Be Connected or Facebook or anything, the power for you in those platforms is in lead generation. Not necessarily sending people to the platform, but pulling them out of the platform.
I want to get them from the platform to my website.
Correct. You want them in your own database that you control the messaging. In Facebook, you don't control squat. You got a bunch of loose cannons that are saying stuff, in front of your back, behind your back, upside down, inside out, and you have no control over it. There is no way I would want to put myself in that situation. Because
you're in a Facebook Live group or mastermind, John.
Yeah, as long as you are in control of it. But like using some other social media platform to just pile people in, and then you're not going to be in there and monitor it and have a handle on it. That's a disaster in my opinion.
John, my Facebook groups, I have 2 of them, and nobody can post unless I give them permission.
Okay.
That's something Facebook does allow now. Is if you went and posted in there, all right, I've got to pre-approve it.
Okay. So you can moderate. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah,
it does require your time though. That is a sidestep, guys. It does require your time to be able to go check anytime somebody posts in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know you probably have one for members. Do you have a group for just prospects or interested people, as this implies?
Yeah, I do. I have a general one that I just changed it from, it was a public group. I just changed it to a private group because Facebook's new rules on public group is anybody can join and I can't stop it. And I don't want you to join any of my groups until you give me your email address. So.
Joe, there's also, if you're going to direct people to join a private group, you might want to consider starting a group in a new platform called, it's not really new, but it's called MeWe.com, where they supposedly promise that your information is safe and not for sale. That would be a really good, that you're protecting them right from the get-go, and that it's a private, join, and that you have great points to share and whatever. That might be an option.
I'm in so many groups and so many platforms. I'm trying to just focus. We focused on Facebook for a long time and I got a lot of traction out of it, but I want to take it to another level. And I think Be Connected, I'm meeting a lot of higher level entrepreneurs.
That's good.
And they're referral sources. That's what I'm looking for, really.
I want to know why you have a girl in her underwear on your page there. What is she doing?
Yeah, I was just getting to that one, Richard.
Wait,
Where's this? Where?
So, okay. So
Scroll up, John. Scroll up.
All right, hold on. Hang on there.
Yeah, she's covered up. She's naked.
Let me work my way through the rest of the page here.
Well, I don't do any of this now.
Okay, so next section down here, we got business news, tools, and resources you can use now to help start, build, and manage your own business successfully. So most of these boxes down here were related to either funding or grants. This lead-in doesn't say anything about that. The whole thing about getting free money and getting grants, getting people to give you free money is really powerful. That is a really big attention grabber. You're not leveraging it or taking advantage of that. Whenever you put something out, remember Frank Kern was very, very successful at this. He didn't even come up with the formula. I think it was Rich Sheffron or one of the copywriters gave him this and he used it. He credited them. He didn't claim he did it or made it. He always credits whoever it's from, but it's the whole thing of the three pieces of here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. And here's what I want you to do next, the call to action. So you always want to be thinking in terms of that when you're writing headlines, when you're featuring things on your website. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. That's the most important part because that's all they care about. And then here's what to do next. So that said, we've got all these 6 boxes that are related to grants and things. And we've got a sexy girl sitting here in her underwear that she could be potentially underage. I don't know.
Oh, no, I think that's a blog post from Susan Shepard.
Okay, well, again, it could be underage.
Okay.
Joe,
we have
what you want.
We have a team meeting tonight.
And it just says get what you want. That doesn't mean anything. I'm seeing a picture of a sexy girl in her underwear and you're telling me I get what I want. I think you got a little bit of a mixed message going.
Some of that.
Not that I don't like it. Don't get me wrong there, but I don't know if it's appropriate for your website, especially your homepage.
I think I got to pay more attention on what they're putting on my website.
And hey, she might be wearing white shorts. I don't know, but I want to see her in her underwear, so that's what I see. So my mind's filling in the blanks here.
Yeah.
So maybe
And available women right before it.
Joe, maybe you want to change your business.
I think I'm gonna, maybe I'll start listen, don't get me going.
And then this is cool, having the About Joe thing. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. It's a good picture, Joe.
This image here, join us for a free rock solid revenue mastermind. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
So this could be join us for a mastermind where I'm going to show you how to double your revenue in the next 12 months. You've got to be specific about, again, here's what I've got. You've got a mastermind. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Sign up and join it. Get in there. Learn how to double your revenue in 12 months. The image here is perfectly fine, but the overlay is extremely distracting. Like putting lines behind text, that's just not a good idea in any scenario.
Yes, agreed. Even on the very first picture, that was what I was going to say. You can't have type over a complicated image. So put a block, Joe, have your graphics team put even just a square with a pop out color and knock the type out or whatever. But you gotta make that easier to read, or people won't even bother.
Yeah. And here's not the last thing, the second to the last thing. Down here it says get a free financial planner and client management system. To me, financial planner, now all of a sudden you're a finance guy. You're doing estate planning. That's kind of what I think when I see financial planner. So you really got to get your messaging dialed in. You got to figure out who you're selling to, what they want, why they want it, and keep the track very, very specific to that languaging. You're like mixing up finance and different industries. And then lastly, and this is for everybody, if you're going to have social media links on your site, this is the perfect place to put them. Put them down in your footer. That's where they belong. If somebody wants to see your Facebook page, they can get there, but it's the last thing on the page.
So we did something right.
You did something right. Yep.
Right.
It's not that you did anything wrong, Joe. Again, it's like for everybody, I'm just trying to sharpen your sword here. The fact that you got a website up is a big win. There's a lot of people that are stuck that aren't even there. So
John, can I ask the
got a
question?
chance.
John,
this is worse than Woody's site was, though. I thought Woody's site was bad. This is terrible.
Oh.
Yeah, but I got out of the underwear business. But John, I want to ask you a question about Joe's landing page. Isn't it a good idea? I know it's all about ACT. I know it's all about the big idea. But for a graphic, can't you have a graphic of someone sitting on the beach, the palm tree, the margarita, and saying, aren't you glad you left the bookkeeping to Joe? And kind of give them a future.
Yeah, you could, if that was your angle, if that imagery matched your messaging, absolutely. I don't know that he's using that messaging, but if he were, then yeah, absolutely. You always want to match your images to the message you're portraying.
So that's a good point, Woody. Thank you. Because who was it? Somebody's, I think Ron sent me an image with like a guy that was all frustrated. So do I want like somebody frustrated? Do I want to show them the pain, or do I want to show them the beach
joy
with the margarita?
Well,
you could have a split screen and go from this to this.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
There's two primary motivators. There's the toward motivator and there's the away from motivator. That's from NLP. They've got toward and away from. So anything painful, you're trying to avoid the pain. Anything pleasurable, you're trying to move toward that.
John.
A lot of times the pain motivators are a lot stronger than the pleasure motivators. So having the pain, getting away from the pain is in many cases a stronger thing. That's why they use fear. Fear is used a lot in ad campaigns.
Okay. With no vicious dogs.
No, well, yeah, you can go too far. You can go too far there. Like the pleasure of getting a grant is awesome, but we show an image of a girl in her underwear.
I don't know how that got up there.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you've got someone else working on your website, you want to make sure you're taking a look at that, because I guarantee you your website is not near as meaningful to them as it is to you. You know, you if you've got anybody working for you, doing stuff, creating things, you really need to be checking up on them. You know, you really need to be making
We
sure
do.
that
Honestly,
what's going on.
She's still working on the site. She only started this like a month ago, month or two ago. And she didn't even know WordPress before. Now she's learning Kartra and WordPress.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I just let her put up everything, and now we can go back and
Sure. And that's fine, especially if it's in a rough draft. I know, like, my development team, when we're developing sites for clients, a lot of times, you know, the developers don't know what you're trying to get across, and the content's not all over yet. So they're just putting, you know, rough images up there just to have something as a placeholder. So,
well, I mean, Joe, I've had people come to me because I don't, you know, with the virtual event, and they all like, oh yeah, you're speakers. So they all come and they want to talk about, you know, they want to talk about something that has nothing to do with what we're doing. Well, I want to talk about, you know, joy and peace and riding horses. I'm like, has nothing to do with online marketing, dude. Don't care how much you enjoy it. It doesn't fit. And sometimes that's what you get is when you get team members, they don't know your mission. You got to keep people focused on your mission, not theirs.
You're right. It's been hard to like actually nail it down, to be honest with you. It's taken years. Right, John?
It's taken a lot of us years.
Yes.
I mean, I'm on the same path you guys are on. You know, I get better at this. The more I do it, the better I get. My advantage is I've got people paying me to get good at it for them. You know, so, and I'm doing it on so many different fields and levels that I'm getting exposure to all kinds of niches, all kinds of avatars. That's why, you know, a lot of times I can come up and I can throw big ideas out, because it's not the first time I'm seeing that industry. You know, I'm seeing things for the 10th time, 20th time. So I've had previous shots at getting good and sharpening the sword on that particular thing. But it really all boils down to that, figuring out what they want. You know, that's one of the key things in developing your avatar in the ACT training is the timeline. The timeline is all about figuring out where your person is currently. What are they feeling? Are they feeling like they can do this? Or are they feeling like they're defeated? Are they feeling like, you know, this is too hard, too complicated, I'm not going to be able to do it? That's where they're going to be forming objections already based on where they are on their own timeline. Because if you look at the other end of the timeline, that's where they want to be. That's their desired outcome. And if they knew how to get there, they would already be there. So they're not feeling very good. You know, if you really get inside their head, you're going to find a lot of fear. You're going to find a lot of frustration. You're going to get their language. Hopefully, you're going to figure out who they are, why they're there, how they feel about it, all of that stuff. And then you're also going to know where they want to be and how they're going to feel when they get there and all of that stuff. So, you know, that's one of the things you gotta kind of get to the bottom of. And then, you know, once you figure out both those ends of the timeline, filling in the middle, that's basically how you're going to get them from where they are to where they want to be. That's where your marketing campaign comes in. That's where you're going to be convincing their head that this is actually doable. You know, I haven't talked about, we've been on Big Idea a lot the last several months, and I haven't really talked, I don't think, too much about some of the thoughts and stuff that's going through people's heads that's creating objections. Every objection is based on a belief. So if you think about that, they're on the timeline, they're on the where they are part of the timeline. If they believed they could be on the other end of the timeline, they probably already would have done it, right? So they've got some beliefs in their head of, I can't do this. I've tried this before, man. my whole family's tried this. They've all failed. I'm, you know, I'm cursed, whatever it is, they're thinking it, and it's creating beliefs in their head. So those beliefs are creating objections. When you get to the point where you say, then this is my classic call to action. I like this one. I got this from Eric Laughlin. He said, you know, after you've done your sales presentation and you feel like they're ready to close, all you have to do is say, would you like to move forward with that? And they're either going to tell you yes or no. There's really isn't much in between. And if they say yes, then you've done a phenomenal job of eliminating all the objections prior to making your offer. That's the golden goose. That's what we all aspire to. If they say no, all it means is there's a hidden objection somewhere that you didn't get, you didn't address, you didn't solve. Every one of those objections is based on a belief somewhere in their head that formed an objection that's there. And it's not going to allow them to say yes. So in Eric Laughlin's scenario, he wants to figure out what it is. So he says simply, oh, wow. And he seems a little shocked when they say no. This is a good key component. You say, really? What's holding you back? Like that's implying that this is really going to be good for them. And you're wondering why they're not doing it. And when whatever they say, the first thing they say is not going to be the real deal. It's going to be a superficial answer. And you want to know that, you want to understand that, you want to acknowledge it as though it's real. Say, oh, wow, yeah, I understand that. But other than that, is there anything else? Is there anything else that might be holding you back other than that? And now you're going to get closer to the truth. It might not be the whole truth, but you're going to get a lot closer to it on the second round. And now they're going to have to actually tell you something meaningful. Now you're going to get a real true objection out on the table. And then same thing, you acknowledge it. You say, oh, I totally understand. I agree with you. You know, not combative, not confrontive, just accepting of whatever it is that they say, knowing now what the objection is. And then you say, okay, got it. Other than that, is there anything else? You keep doing that till you get them all out on the table, because now you're going to start your presentation. You're going to go a few steps back and you're going to now start eliminating those objections now that you know what they were. And the way that we eliminate objections is using Benjamin Franklin's formula. This formula is damn near 300 years old, and it's been working ever since. And what he does, it's a three-part formula. It's claim. He makes a claim contrary to the belief. So if they say, if you find out that the belief is they just don't think they can do it, let's just say that's their objection. That's their belief. It's causing the objection of that's why they're not going to buy it. They don't believe that it'll work for them. So you make a claim contrary to that. You say, this actually will work for you. Now that claim, as you know, that's going to go off their back like water off a duck. It's just a claim. It's just meaningless. So you have to follow it up with 2 proof points. Proof points can't just be you saying it, because you already did that and it didn't work, right? You made the claim and that wasn't good enough. So now you have to tie it to a reality. So you bring in 2 proof points. That's not you saying it. It's third-party verification that what you said is a fact. As soon as you change it from a claim to a fact, most sane people won't argue a fact. So now all of a sudden you just reverse their belief. Now their belief is in that, oh, wow, I can do this. He just proved to me I can do this. And again, I'm just using this as an example of if I can't do it, if I believe I can't do it, now I believe I can do it. And then the third piece is you reattach the fact that they're going to do it to the outcome, the benefit. So the formula is claim, proof, benefit. Claim contrary to the belief. 2 proof points. That's not you saying it. It's third-party verification that it's real, and then attaching it to their desired outcome. The benefits.
So John, with the proof, could I use like my client's testimonials?
Yeah, you can use third-party verification. It's as long as it's third-party verification and it's not you saying it. Like one of the things that I use is I make a claim for small business owners. This is one of my claims. When they all go into business thinking they're going to kick butt and nothing's going to get in their way. One of my claims is 80% of business is going to go out of business in the next 18 months. 80% of businesses are going to fail in the next 18 months. And, you know, that's just a claim. It's just words off my lips. It means nothing. But then I attach it to some proof. That's Forbes magazine writing an article in print that says 80% of businesses are going to fail in the next 18 months. And here's why. And then I attach it to another claim, or actually this is another third-party verification. I use Tony Robbins. And I say, here's what Tony Robbins has to say. He verifies that the 18% is true, but he takes it further. And this is called twisting the knife. I say, Tony says, if you give them long enough, 96% are going to fail. And then I twist the knife even further and I go, imagine that. Imagine if your business is going to fail. Do you want to take 10 years to do it? Imagine how you're going to feel 10 years from now after you've lost money consecutively for 10 years and you're just beaten to the dirt. So you have to give up. You can't go on anymore. At that point, you're not only going to be broke, you're going to be broken. You know, broke I can fix. I can show you how to make money. But when your soul is broken, I'm going to have trouble fixing that. So that's one of my claims to business is get it right out of the gate. That's how I sell ACT. I want people to not be in the 80%. I definitely don't want them to be in the 96%. I want them to be in the 4%. So let's get it right. Let's figure out the big idea. Let's figure out the objections. Let's make sure you're not part of that 80%. You know, so that's an example of a proof point, how a proof is built. It's not just you saying it. It's third-party verification that now it's real. It's a fact. People have trouble arguing facts unless they're insane, and I suggest you change your avatar if that's your case. So, and then reattach it to the benefit. And I always say one claim, 2 proof points, and then I say 3 benefits, but it's really one benefit said in 3 ways where you 3-dimensionalize it. And again, if you've been through the ACT training, I talk about 3-dimensionalizing benefits. This is the way you can bring a benefit to life so they can actually feel it. Like I say this all the time, do things that work in the real world. Don't try and do things online that wouldn't work in the real world or not done successfully in the real world. In the real world, the first thing a car salesman wants you to do is get behind the wheel so you can feel it. There's no better way for him to create demand and desire for you to have that car than to feel it, to drive it, to start imagining it in your driveway, imagining how your neighbors are going to look at it and envy you, you know, all the different reasons of why you would want the car, right? So how do you do that in text? How do you do that in your marketing funnel? You 3-dimensionalize the benefit. So you say the same benefit in 3 ways so they can hear it, see it, and feel it. Because, you know, we all have audio, we all have visual, and we all have kinesthetic to one level or another. We're all audio, visual, and kinesthetic. We hear, we see, and we feel. So you want to say your benefit in a way that touches all 3 of those. So the first thing is you say it so they can hear it. That's just saying it. Just say the thing, whatever it is. And then you say it so they can see it. And you basically just make the statement again with the, you know, and you use a trigger word. And one of the trigger words, there's several different trigger words. One is remember. because you can say, when you say the word remember, you're automatically accessing images in their head. And now you say remember, and you attach that to the image you want them to see. And the next word that you want is imagine. Imagine is now you can forecast them into the imaginary realm. You can get them to imagine things that may have never existed before. That's where they're going to feel it. So I know you guys are thinking, what in the hell is he talking about? How do I do that? So I'll give you an example. I use this one a lot. It works really well. It's a female. Let's say our avatar is a female. She's put on a little weight. She's going to her 20-year high school reunion, right? She's not feeling real good about the way she looks right now. So we're going to sell her a diet pill. And yeah, I know they don't work, but we're going to sell her one anyway. But we're going to three-dimensionalize the benefit of the diet pill. So the first thing we're going to say is we're going to say, yeah, you just take this pill, the weight will shed off. You'll shed the pounds and you'll look great. So now she's heard it, right? That's the first dimension. You got that covered. Now we want her to see it. We want her to see the results. So we say, remember. Say, remember how good you used to look in the mirror when you were 20 pounds lighter. Now she's going to pull up an image because she knows what she looked like when she looked in the mirror 20 pounds ago. She knows what that looks like. And now she can see it. When she sees it, now she's going to want it, right? It wasn't just hearing it. Now she can actually see that image. And so now we've heard it. We've said it so she can see it. Now we want her to feel it. So I'm going to use imagine. I'm going to say, imagine how you're going to feel when you walk into the reunion and all the heads turn and people are talking about how good you look. I just took her for a test drive. I got her to feel the ride of the car right there, just with words. So hear it, see it, feel it. That's three-dimensionalizing your benefit. When you figure out what she really wants and why she wants it, she wants the notoriety. She doesn't want to walk in there and have people go, God, what happened to her? Right? They want her saying, damn, she looks good. You know, that's what's going to get her to buy that damn thing. Right? Three-dimensionalize the benefits. It's going to change your world when you do that. Because you're creating demand and desire for your product. That's what you're doing. There's no better way than to let them test drive it. That's how you do it online. Remember, you got to take stuff that works in the real world and figure out how to convert it to digital. Well, that right there is one of the keys to the kingdom. Three-dimensionalizing benefits. So I don't know if anyone's ever told you guys that stuff before. A lot of this stuff I've just kind of figured out. I've looked at ad agencies, I've watched them, I've studied them for years. It's like, how do they do what they do? And I've broken it down. I've figured out their formulas. I haven't heard a lot of people like that have done that, that have, you know, shared that information with people. I don't know how they teach it in the ad agencies. I don't know if they've got like a secret book somewhere that they bring out from behind the curtain and say, you work here, here's how we do it. I don't know if they have that or not, but that's kind of what I've done. I have deciphered that secret book. Allie's worked for the ad agencies. They have a secret book back there, Allie, or are they just that good?
You want the truth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when I was an art director and a creative director, we would have brainstorming and we would have marketing, graphics, legal. You know, we would always have a profile and all of our boards made up with what the product is. And we would, you know, and back then our copywriters, you know, we always had research about what words would, you know, NLP and trigger a buy response.
Mm-hmm.
But we would always go create a fear first and then solve the problem. And
so storyboarding.
Yeah, storyboarding.
But
And
do they have like a book and all the formulas, like the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys?
No, not really, John. You know, like the creative director and the like VP of marketing and all the more of the CEO, the C-suite shelf, like I would meet with them and they would always go for the jugular. Like, we don't care how you do it. We just want you to sell it. And we would always psychologically profile the most fearful points. And that's it. Like we had, I mean, you talk about selling diet pills. Even Verizon was one of our biggest accounts. And I mean, I'll just say this, I got shooed for the art direction on Verizon when it first became a conglomerate back a few, 15, 20 years ago now. And the R&D was like 18 inches high. And I read it and it's what made me quit advertising. I went into the creative director and the VP and I said, this is like a human holocaust. And I don't like, we need to walk away from this. And they were giving $250,000 bonuses to the team that just got the account, like that we would win. Anyway, bottom line, because I could have come up with, brilliant campaigns, but I happened to just flip through every inch and I was like, this is going to cause brain cancer 900%. This was 20 years ago. They had their numbers. See, when you go and you're really with an agency, you do projections 20 years out. And so that talk about a timeline, John.
Yeah.
But this is to avoid being sued. So anyway, the bottom line is that each agency has their way of doing business. And it's not really like a playbook because at that level, you're doing custom work, because they're paying you a fortune. So, but they have the formulas that work. And then nowadays, I still have I have a lot of friends that are still art directors and they're just plummeting into AI. I mean, they know your DNA by now. I mean, everything is and it's all really to your biggest fear. And then that's why I was telling Joe, if he's still on here, you want to do a yin yang, you want to take somebody from your biggest fear to immediately the solution, creating a future that the solution they want. And if you could do it in visuals, like like a circle, like here's where you're starting and here's where we're going to get you. That is such a big hook. It works every time.
Yeah, that transformation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
and John does exactly what you and I had a conversation about three-dimensionalizing stuff quite a while ago. I can remember it. We were in the hallway at one of the hotels, and I said, "Man, that's actually what we do." And they just NLP the shit out of you. I mean, it's intentional and it's just no ethics. It's just, there it is. It's just brutal down bottom line. They want you to buy it and they don't want you to return it. And that's it.
Diabolical.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty. So if you could find an agency or do something that's ethical, one of the things now with social media is people are onto all of the snake oil tactics. So if you, like John, like you're teaching, come from the heart, appeal to the heart. And then if you have rock solid evidence, like Ron, I could help you, man, just call me. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, there are archetypes, like not a playbook, but there are what we used to call archetypes, so that we had archetypes to go to. And an archetype would be, John, how you're doing three-dimensionalize the benefits. So we would, and back then it was much harder to archetype your buyer. But it's basically the 4 quadrants of personality. And then we would test our people. We would test through avatars. We would get small groups in and offer them money. We'd always pay for our, research. And then we would find out who showed up, like who actually answers a call to action to be part of a subject group, a study. And then we would pay them, but even who showed up was already the answer. you know? So like for Ron, a way to do that would be to say, hey, we're doing a study group. Do you want to be part of this? And you can get the cream, and then, you know, you want to create testimonials and literally do videos off of that, and have the video right on your, you know, like, you know, here I was in a car accident, and look, the misery, the pain, the suffering, the shame, I don't stay in anymore. I can go out. I want to date somebody, all of it. So you just go for the jugular of the heart and gut them.
Yeah.
I like the way you think.
It's not how I think. It's advertising, and that's how I was trained. And you use every dimension. You use graphics. That's why your image. Most people are visual, and you want to grab some, like John says, every single week. You want to have a dynamic visual, and honestly, the more jarring it is, because we're so desensitized and so adrenaline junkied out. Everybody on this planet's an adrenaline junkie, and if you weren't, you wouldn't be here. You'd be the Dalai Lama meditating. But the rest of you own it. We're all adrenaline junkies, and most men are driven by visual sexual images. Period. End of story. Sex sells. Beautiful women sell, and that's the bottom line, man. And you know, for gay men, hot, sexy men, and it can really cross line barriers. But and then so visual, the hearing, again, you're gonna appeal to fear, and then lure with pleasure, the solution, you know, getting somebody out of the fear and the pain and the suffering. And then the solution, pleasure is way second to fear, like by 50%, but it's still a nice exclamation point that it's a closer, your fear stuff. And then with the, we call it VAX, visual, auditory, kinesthetics, and spiritual, because now you're covering all 4 quadrants, you know, of people. And so your VAX is the kinesthetic, it's the feelers. You want to create the feeling by creating the future they're going to live into. And that is where you can get into all the pleasure points, because you're taking them from the pain to the pleasure. And then the spiritual aspect is the do good contribution, solving a problem. You know, this is when you throw in, we're donating 5% of our profits to airplane victims or children of burn victims, or, you know, like I'm thinking of Ron and the scars. You throw in a philanthropic angle, that's going to, so VAX, 4 VAX, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, spiritual, that's a memory peg for you. And that addresses not only the 4, that gives you 4 dimensions. And it also addresses, you can start to address 4 different avatars. 4 different dominant personality characteristic traits. And like John says, you can have many avatars and just nail it one by one by one. And so that's what I know. And typography, you want to have simple, brief, and clear. No confusion. You want to sell to a kindergarten person, because you are selling to the 6-year-old part of your mind. And this is what we know in advertising. So you want to say stuff like you would talk to a kindergarten. If you could talk to a kid in kindergarten or 1st grade and explain what you do, and have the child tell you back what you do, you can sell. That's what we go for. We assume everybody's stupid, too busy, and burnt out and hurting. And then price points are always going to be great if you can, you know, create the like super value and market yourself. People don't trust the lowest price. They always want. And so when you say, I'm not the lowest price, but you get the value that I offer, that's going to be in the background. That takes care of a huge objection, because no one, like with Scar Cream, nobody wants the lowest price, because then they question, is it good? Is it really going to
Yeah.
work? Or am I just going to waste another $50? And, so anyway, those are some things that I know. And
All right.
typography and color matter, and it really matters to who you're selling to. Like Joe, his website is very male driven. It's dominant to his personality type, and it may not be his avatar. And Ron, your website is very male driven. It may not be.
Thank you.
It's not your avatar. I'm telling you, if you appeal to women, women will buy your product up, down, and sideways all day long, every day for the rest of their freaking lives, because women live in shame and fear on any scar anywhere. It could be on the bottom of their freaking foot, and they will not wear open toe shoes. They will not take their shoes off, even in bed. That's what I mean by you got to go for the juggler of the fear. So go for your women, go for where, especially exposing burns, scars, C-section women. Oh my God, what an avatar. Did you never wear a bathing suit, turn the lights off in bed, their husband never sees them again, and it's over. So you want to go for all the places where people are suffering in any business.
Yeah, we talk about that in the video, C-sections, breast scars, all that kind of stuff. But we should, that's good input. We'll look at feminizing this side a little more.
Yeah, and it's, go ahead.
I don't know how to change the background of that.
John, please help us. How do we change the thing?
Yeah, I got your email there, Ron. I'll get you on the schedule. But
yeah, definitely.
hey, I want to thank everybody for being on here today. Great, another great session. The more you guys contribute stuff for us to look at, it's like real life examples.
For sure.
I can talk about the stuff, all day, but it's like when we've got real stuff, and it might seem like we're tearing it apart, but it's just part of the process. So
you're not going to hurt my feelings, man. I used to have guys with stars on their shirts going after me, but I'll tell you, it is so interesting to hear you break down my stuff and everybody else's. You can tell you're in your zone, man. So it's great to hear it.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right.
Yeah, and thanks, Alice, for your input too.
Hey, John, can I ask a quick question about a logo?
Sure.
We're developing a new logo, and for Disabled No More.
Okay.
And there is, and it's going to have a very hip hop, youth driven logo to go for a certain crowd. But then on the same token, I want to be selling these manuals to corporations. And I would thinking, let's say for me, a New York Yankees logo, it's very, but they also embellish on it. They make it bigger, they make it flowery. Thank you, my love. And it's English. I've only been around it 68 years.
What's your question?
Yeah, so can you have a regular standard logo and then you have a big same flowery version of it?
Well, a logo really represents your corporate identity, your company identity. So you really should have one. Now you can have other taglines, you can have products, you can have a product that had a completely different look to it, but a logo, typically that's representative of your company, and it should represent what the company's about. Like for mine, it's Internet Dominators, and my logo is really an all-seeing eye. I have a lot of people that kind of freak out. They think I'm Illuminati, or who knows what the hell they're thinking. It's about seeing the future. The all-seeing eye. I figure, hell, if it's good enough to put on money, it's probably good enough to me put on my car, right? So it just should be representative of your corporate culture, where you're going, who you represent.
Well, we have t-shirts that we're going to be getting into, and the t-shirt guy said it's all about logo.
Yeah.
So, the Wall Street Journal logo on a t-shirt isn't very exciting. But if you could embellish it to make it look, off the hook.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind the guy, whenever you get advice from a third party, you have to consider the source. A t-shirt guy telling you logo is everything. He's selling shirts and he's selling 1 million of them. So he's throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks. You got one company you're trying to represent. You need to get it right. You don't need to be all over the place and fancy. You need to represent your company. That's that's the job of your logo.
Right. You don't need t-shirts right now, Woody. To develop your logo, you want your logo to be like Nike. If they put the swoosh up, it's Nike. If you see the Coca-Cola red and white swirl, it's Coke. It's like a visual explanation point, and it's got to translate. Like, think of your apps. You see that little blue F, it's Facebook. You're getting fucked. So,
I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. So you want it to be like able to go down in black and white to 4-point type where your see, this is all the subconscious mind.
Ellie, get with them on the side. We got to wrap this up.
Okay. But your subconscious will see a dot, Bye, you guys.
All right. Hey, everybody, thanks for being on here. I just don't want to drag this thing out for hours and hours. So we got to kind of clip it at some point. But anyway, great call. Let's get on and keep it going next week.
Thanks, John.
Have a great week.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.